Philadelphia, PA. What's the difference between Muslims not allowed to protest and a hadith that if you see a wrong, change with your hand? Like we explained before, we have the text and then we have the interpretation of the text. All right, the text and the interpretation of the text. So oftentimes there are other elements that have an effect on the interpretation of the text. And that's the core foundation of madhhab al-salaf, the way of the salaf, is to try our best to take it back to the most organic interpretation and physical application possible. Versus those who take later interpretations and later applications, right? So with regards to if a person made an argument about protesting and it's permissible and it's obligatory, there lies no doubt that person can find a plethora of verses and hadiths to support his argument. An abundance of ayah, hadith, abundance. But a person, they'll come along and they say, this is from the non-Muslims, it's from the West, it's from khuruj al-imam, al-hakim, al-shar'i, wali al-amr, the Salaf never did it, the Sahaba never did it, so on and so on and so on and so forth. And they'll get out of that bombardment of those proofs and evidences with, it's not the proper understanding. So for every verse that you quote and every hadith that you cite, go back and see where is the ijma' of the Salaf. That's what it means and that's what it doesn't mean. And if you can't find the ijma', then find the overwhelming majority. An-naql al-mustafid al-mashhur anhum. And if you can't find that, then you can't say what is and what isn't the way of the Salaf concerning an issue or concerning the interpretation of a verse or a hadith. That's number one. Number two is the concept of, they say, revolting against the ruler, disobeying the ruler, even if he's a sinner, is haram in the sunnah, which it is. And you can't go out and protest because that is bidayatul khuruj. Does that apply to America? Is there a Muslim ruler? Is there Islamic government? Is there Islamic government in the world today? This is a serious, hardcore question to be asked. Is there a country that its constitution, its bylaws, the kitab and sunnah from beginning to end, so on and so forth? And we're not trying to get into that sticky discussion. And we're not making takfir on nobody. We're not saying no one's a kafir or a murtad or an apostate ruler. We're just speaking the facts. So the concept of proofs and evidences to protest and to demonstrate, there lies no doubt you'll find that. And one could possibly say, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ, change with your hands. And that's the best you can do. You're not the government. You're an underdog. You're outnumbered. You're oppressed. You're trodden upon. The best thing you can do is boycott and get into the streets and demonstrate. And others may say, no, that's confusion, that's chaos, that's killing, that's so on and so forth. And then they'll import a fatwa from overseas, a fatwa that's given at a specific time in a specific place, and most importantly, that has a specific influence. And this is no disrespect to no scholar or no country or no rulership, but it's the truth. You cannot deny the reality is that government, politics, regimes, they want to remain in power. They don't want to lose their authority. They want to legitimize their authority as much as they can. And the easiest and fastest way to legitimize the authority is through what? Islam. And the example of this is a husband who's abusive to his wife. He's neglectful of his wife. He disregards her needs, her wants. And whenever she complains or someone complains, he has the authority and the autonomy, the trump card. I'm the husband. She has to make sujood to me if there was anyone. She has to lick the pus out of my wounds. And he can quote everything he wants to. But he doesn't keep in mind the fact that there is another side of the coin. Okay? So he has the power. The government has the power. The oppressive husband doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to let the wife go. He doesn't want to treat her right, nor does he want to let her go, because he has the power. The talaq is in his hands. The khul has to go through him, etc., etc. So anybody with any common sense is going to realize that all those who have power, they fear to lose it. They don't want to lose the power. And the easiest way of keeping power is through Islam. So every verse, every hadith about the ruler, speaking about the ruler, talking about the ruler, they're going to use that and they're going to quote that. And the other ayat and other hadith that go against their agenda and shed light upon their dhulm, and maybe some places their kufr and shirk. They're going to either suppress it, lock up the scholar, kill the scholar, brainwash the scholar, or they're going to have an influence in twisting and warping its interpretation. And at the end of the day, it is ta'til an-nas. You're diffusing the text from any benefit. Enjoying the good doesn't apply to physical, verbal. You can't write an article. You can't do nothing. That's a problem. This is a very huge problem. And we know that Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, yani ma nu'attil an-nusus. We never diffuse the text from their benefit. And it has to mean something. Enjoying the good, forbidding the evil has to mean something. Standing up has to mean something. Qawwameen, Allah says in the Quran. Be shuhada, be witnesses for the truth. That has to mean something. Alright? So Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he says in Al-Aqidah al-Wasatiyah, describing Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, he says, وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ عَلَى مَا تُوجِبُهُ الشَّرِيعَةِ. They enjoin the good, and they forbid the evil, and the requirements of the Sharia. So what is the requirement of the Sharia? Is it going in the street? Is it the same government as the time of the Sahaba, as the time of Ibn Taymiyyah? Is there a sultan? Is there a caliph? Is it an Islamic country? Or is there democracy and voting? Everyone understand these things. So it's going to be an argument at the end of the day. And this is why you find different scholars giving different fatwa. And to be quite frank and to be honest, you'll find a scholar from one country, his fatwa is going to be different than a scholar of another country. A scholar from the Gulf, his fatwa is not going to be like a scholar from Egypt or another country. And that's because it's a different climate. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different environment. Things are not the same as they are here, as they are there. And the influences on the fatwa will be present and prevalent. Everyone understand this? So at the end of the day, in brief, in the United States, speaking up, demonstrating, protesting, boycotting, demanding rights, justice, equality, so on and so on and so forth. If the Muslims have no involvement in that whatsoever, what will happen? Who will write the policy? Who will give the narrative of Islam and the Sunnah? People's rights. Where will they go? If you just leave them up to greedy, selfish, racist politicians, police officers, governors, mayors, and senators. These are serious questions, guys, for our country, not in the Middle East, not in North Africa, Northeast Africa and Egypt. No, we're talking about in the U.S., America. The system of government is totally different. Freedom of speech, writing articles, newspapers is totally different. It's not like that. It's not like that overseas. And most people, when they talk about these fatwa and they import them blindly, they don't give a difference. They don't make a difference. They don't differentiate. But the last thing I'm going to want to say about this issue now is that we are not like those, inshallah, who totally run and flee from everything just because it comes from the Middle East. You don't have to dress like this. You don't have to wear this. You don't have to say this. You can do this. You can join this. You can go here. This is not haram. Everything's okay. We're not going to teach. We're not going to call the people to go to the masjids. We're just going to become totally modern and progressive. No, 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 no. That's the other side of extremism. We still call to Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim and Jami' Tirmidhi. We still call to the way of the Salaf al-Salih. But not with the extremism and not with the understanding of the zealots and the people who lack the proper understanding, the proper intelligence, or those who have, but they just don't care. And they want to keep the people under control. They want to keep the people ignorant, and not like those who live in an illusional bubble. An illusional bubble. They're quoting some type of athar, and they're trying to apply it, and they're living in an illusional bubble. So that's all I have to say with regards to that. The rest of it you got to figure out on your own. And I think those words are beyond clear for those who use their heads, huh?